My wife didn't cheat on me for love. Not for passion. Not for revenge. She cheated because she was scared. But you know what? That doesn't make it any better. It just makes it sadder. And maybe worse. I first noticed something was wrong about 6 weeks before it all came out. At first, it was little things. The kind you notice, then brush off, because life's too busy to dwell on every strange look or distracted answer. But they add up. She was quieter. Not cold, not angry. Just somewhere else. She'd zone out during dinner. Forget she already told me something. Smile like she was trying to remember how. And when I asked if everything was okay, she gave me the same answer every time. Just tired. Work's been nuts lately. But that wasn't it. I know what tired looks like. This wasn't exhaustion. This was something pressing on her, like she was carrying a weight that didn't belong to her, or maybe did, and she was just too scared to admit it. One night, I brought her tea, sat on the couch, and said, "You're not here with me, even when you are." She leaned in, kissed my cheek, whispered, "I'm sorry. I just need to get through this stretch." Then she curled into me, like she used to, and I let myself believe that was enough. But over the next week, she got more distant, and weirdly, softer at the same time. She was more affectionate. More kisses. More "I love yous." More little moments that felt genuine. And yet, her eyes were somewhere else. Like she was trying to balance something. And failing. I tried different things. Surprises. Lunch together. Even asked her to take a long weekend with me. Just the two of us. She smiled, said she'd love to, but work wouldn't allow it. Work again. Always work. One night, after another quiet dinner, I sat on the back deck and stared at the trees for half an hour. Just sat there. Not thinking anything useful. Just not feeling at home in my own life. That's when I realized I needed help figuring this out. Not a therapist. Not a journal. Just perspective. So I called Alex. Alex and Lisa were our closest friends. Been married 5 years, like us. Lisa and Kate were tight. Always texting, sending memes, girls' brunches, the usual. Alex and I? We grilled meat, drank beer, and made fun of overpriced wine. I trusted him. So the next time I saw him at the office, I brought it up casually. "Hey," I said, "what are you and Lisa doing Saturday?" "Nothing yet." "Why?" "Come over. Let's do a backyard barbecue." He smiled. "Sounds good. You cooking or burning?" "Both." We laughed. I told Kate that night. She nodded quickly. Almost too quickly. "Yeah, that sounds great," she said. "It'll be good to see them." And something in her voice felt nervous. But I didn't press. I just told myself it would be a good night. And maybe, just maybe, I'd figure out what the hell was going on with my wife. Saturday came fast. Weather was perfect, not too hot, not too windy. One of those golden late afternoons when it actually feels good to be alive. Kate was moving around the kitchen, slicing vegetables, humming something under her breath. She looked normal. Not forced. Not tense. Just normal. That should have calmed me down. But somehow, that made it worse. Because if she was hiding something, and still able to look this relaxed, that meant she was getting used to hiding. Alex and Lisa showed up around 5. Bottles of wine in hand, chips and salsa, good moods all around. Hugs, jokes, laughter. It all felt easy. Too easy. Kate and Lisa slipped off inside not long after, catching up on work skincare, who was buying what on Amazon this week. Alex and I stayed by the grill, flipping burgers, sipping beer. Quiet for a few minutes, until I broke it. "Can I ask you something?" He turned. "Course." I paused, kept my eyes on the flames. "Have you ever felt like Lisa was, I don't know, slipping away?" He gave me a look, one part confused, one part cautious. "Not really." "Why?" I shrugged. "Kate's been off lately." He didn't say anything. "I mean, she's here. She's trying. But she's also somewhere else." You guys fighting? No. That's the weird part. We're fine. But she's not. He nodded slowly, taking a long sip. You think there's someone else? I didn't answer right away, because saying it out loud felt like dropping a brick through a glass table. But I nodded. Once. He stayed quiet for a beat, then said, She doesn't seem the type. I let out a bitter half-laugh. Neither did I. We talked quietly for another 10 minutes. Nothing heavy. Just enough. Alex promised to talk to Lisa. Said maybe she'd picked up on something between the girls. I thanked him. Grateful and sick at the same time. After that, we just focused on the food. We sat, we ate, we drank. Kate laughed, told stories, teased me about burning one of the burgers. She was more alive at night than she'd been in weeks. Her eyes sparkled. Her smile was real. And for a moment, I let myself believe I was crazy. That it was just work. Or hormones. Or nothing. That night in bed, she kissed me like she meant it. I fell asleep wondering if maybe I just needed to get out of my own head. But 2 days later, I got a call from Alex. Hey, he said. I talked to Lisa. And? She's noticed it too. Said Kate's different lately. He hesitated. And she didn't say anything, but she got this weird feeling when you were grilling. What do you mean? She said Kate looked relieved to be distracted. But when she thought no one was looking, she looked crushed. Crushed. Not guilty. Not bored. Not tired. Crushed. And just like that, whatever comfort I had started to rebuild was gone. Alex gave me a number. Said he knew a guy, ex-cop turned private investigator. Someone who'd helped a friend of his through a rough divorce. I hope you don't need it, he said. But if you do, better to know than keep guessing. I saved the number in my phone. Didn't call it right away. But it was there. And deep down, I think I already knew. I was going to use it. I called the number Alex gave me 2 days later. His name was John. Ex-cop. Quiet voice. No nonsense. We agreed to meet at a small diner off 6th, one of those places with cracked booze and perfect coffee. He got there before me. Big guy. Early 50s. Warm leather jacket. Clean shave. Cold eyes. He didn't shake my hand. Just nodded. You're Michael, he said. I sat across from him. Yeah. You think your wife's cheating? It wasn't a question. It was a fact laid out on the table like a dead bird. I nodded slowly. I don't have proof. He sipped his coffee. That's why I'm here. I gave him the short version. Her distance. The behavior. The change in her eyes. The barbecue. The call from Alex. He listened. Didn't interrupt. Just watched me like he'd heard this story 100 times. Because he probably had. Finally, he pulled a small notepad from his coat. Full name? Catherine Langston. Goes by Kate. Phone number. Work. I gave him everything. Where she worked. Her routine. Where she got coffee. Yoga classes. The pharmacy she liked. It felt wrong, saying it all out loud. Like I was betraying her, even though she was the one slipping away from me. When I finished, he looked up. You ready if I confirm it? I didn't answer right away. Because honestly, I didn't know. He saw that. You wouldn't be here if you didn't already feel it. I nodded. Then let's find out, he said. He didn't promise speed. Didn't give me cliches about getting to the bottom of it. He just said, give me 2 weeks. I'll have something. And that was it. No dramatics. No shoulder squeeze. No. Sorry you're going through this. He just got up, dropped a 20 on the table, and left. I sat there for another 5 minutes, staring at my coffee like it might explain how my marriage was slipping away without either of us shouting. The next 2 weeks were hell. Every normal day felt suspicious. Every kiss felt planned. Every excuse, too perfect. Kate had good days, bad days, quiet days. But the silence was always there. That invisible pressure between us. Sometimes, she'd look at me like she wanted to say something. But she never did. And I never asked. Because now I was waiting for someone else to bring me the truth. I had outsourced my trust. And I hated that more than anything. 2 weeks later, John called. Need to see you. Same diner. Same booth. Same coffee. He slid a flash drive across the table. Didn't even bother with a greeting. His name's Derek Holloway. I felt my stomach twist. Who the hell is Derek? Ex-con. Just got out. Vehicular manslaughter. Hit and run in Pennsylvania about 6 years back. My throat went dry. And he's with my wife? John nodded. Been tracking them for 10 days. Same motel. Twice a week. He opened a small envelope. Inside were still photos. Kate. Entering. Leaving. Derek. Tall. Tattoos. Rough build. The two of them together. Looks like she tries to smile for him, John said. But when she leaves, that's when it gets weird. Weird how? She cries. Almost every time. Not full sobbing, but real tears. I said nothing. John kept talking. I've done this kind of job for a long time. Usually, cheaters come out of these meetings happy, excited, energized. He tapped a photo. She looks like she's dying inside. I stared at the images. Kate. My Kate. Smiling at someone I'd never met. Then crying in her car. I don't get it, I whispered. Me neither, he said. I nodded. Because I knew. I just didn't know why. Not yet. But I was going to find out. I waited 4 days before I did it. 4 long, dragging days where I couldn't eat right. Couldn't sleep. Could barely look at her without wondering who the hell I was married to. She said she had a late meeting Thursday. Same time John had tagged her last week. I didn't ask questions. Just kissed her goodbye and said, "Drive safe." Then I got in my car. And followed. The motel was cheap. Ugly building just off the interstate. Curtains always drawn. Parking lot cracked. I parked 2 rows back and waited. At 7:41, she pulled in. She didn't see me. She parked, took a breath, and got out slowly. Not like someone excited. More like someone walking into a dentist appointment she couldn't avoid. I watched her walk to the door. Knock once. It opened. He stood there, Derek. Even from that far away I could tell. He didn't belong in her world. Tall. Rough. That kind of energy that never left prison even after the gates did. But she smiled. God help me, she smiled. And then, he kissed her. Not soft. Not tender. The kind of kiss that tells you who owns what. I filmed it. My hands didn't shake. I zoomed in. She leaned into it. And I felt something crack inside me that would never fully heal. I waited 2 hours. Didn't move. Didn't blink. Just sat there, gripping the wheel, imagining what was happening behind that door. At 9:56, the door opened again. She stepped out alone. Hair slightly messy. Eyes puffy. She walked fast, like she couldn't wait to leave. Clutched her purse. Head down. Got in the car. And then, she broke. I could see her shoulders shake. She was crying. Hard. Sobbing into the steering wheel like the weight of the world was falling through her chest. I didn't understand it. She had just spent 2 hours with him. With someone she chose. Why cry now? Why not before? Why not never? I got out. Walked toward her car fast, before I lost the nerve. She didn't see me coming. When I yanked the passenger door open, she jumped like she'd seen a ghost. Her face went pale. Hey, I said, climbing in beside her. Michael, her voice cracked. Nice motel, I said. She opened her mouth to speak, the usual excuses probably lining up in her throat. It's not what you think, she started. Don't, I cut her off. Don't do that. She blinked fast. Wiped her face. I can explain. No, I said. You can't. Because I saw it. I saw everything. She went quiet. I waited 5 seconds, maybe 6. Then I got out, slammed the door, walked back to my car. I didn't go home. I called Alex. Told him I needed to talk. We met at a bar 2 miles away. Sat in the corner booth like nothing was happening. I told him everything. About the motel. The kiss. The tears. He listened, jaw tight, silent. Then he said something I didn't expect. She cries? Yeah. Every time, apparently. That's not normal. No. It's not. He leaned in. You need to ask her. Not about the cheating. About the crying. Because that's where the real story is. I nodded. Because deep down, I knew he was right. When I got home, the house was dark. No TV. No music. Just that heavy stillness you can feel in your chest. She was in the kitchen. Still in the same clothes. Still pale. Eyes rimmed red like she'd been crying since I left her car. She didn't look surprised to see me. Just scared. Sit, she said softly. I did. She sat across from me. No makeup now. Hair tied back. Just her. Raw. And then, with no build-up, no apology, no begging, she started talking. I was 21 when I met him, she said. Derek. I didn't interrupt. He was older. Not by much. But it felt like a lot at the time. Confident. Loud. Wild. She paused. Her hands trembled slightly. We were seeing each other for about 6 months. Nothing serious, at least that's what I told myself. But he had a way of making you feel like you belonged to him. Her voice cracked. One night we went to the river. Wine. Sandwiches. Stupid music on his phone. It was actually nice. She swallowed hard. On the way back, it happened. A man was walking his dog. Derek was speeding, not paying attention. He hit him. Full on. My throat tightened. I screamed. I told him to stop. I begged him to turn around. But he didn't. He kept driving. She looked at me for the first time since I sat down. I should have gone to the police. I know that. But I was scared. He told me if I said anything, he'd take me down with him. And I believed him. Her voice was barely a whisper now. Turns out, I didn't have to. They caught him. Found the car. The damage. The blood. Everything. I blinked. And you? He told them he was alone. Said I wasn't there. Took the whole thing on himself. She exhaled sharply. I should have confessed. I should have come forward. But I didn't. I disappeared. I moved. Started over. She wiped a tear with the back of her hand. And then I met you. That hit me harder than I expected. Because suddenly, everything we built, our laughter, our trips, our home, was built on a silence. A silence she let grow. I leaned forward. My voice low. And now he's back. She nodded. He found me a few months ago. Followed me after work. He smiled, hugged me like we were long-lost lovers. And then? She stopped. Her eyes drifted to the floor. He started threatening me. Said I owed him. Said he kept me out of prison, and now I owed him my life. Did he say what he wanted? She looked at me, broken. He wanted me. My stomach turned. And you just went along. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought if I played along, I could buy time. Keep him calm. And you slept with him? She didn't speak. That silence? That was the answer. I stood up. Walked a few feet away. Then turned. So instead of telling your husband, you slept with an ex-con to keep a secret from 10 years ago. Tears streamed down her face now. I thought I was protecting you. No, I said. You were protecting yourself. She stood too. Tried to come closer. Michael, please. I stepped back. You didn't trust me to help you. You didn't even try. She didn't argue. Couldn't. I don't know what to do, she whispered. I looked at her. Really looked. And said, flat and cold, neither do I. Then I left the room. Because in that moment, I wasn't ready to forgive. I wasn't even ready to process. All I knew was, the woman I loved had shared her body with a man she feared. instead of sharing the truth with me. The next morning, I sat alone at the kitchen table, staring into a cup of cold coffee. The house was quiet. Kate hadn't come out of the bedroom. I didn't blame her. There wasn't much left to say. But I knew what I had to do. I pulled out my phone and called John. He picked up on the second ring. "You all right?" he asked. "No," I said. "I need to meet." "There's more." We met at the diner that afternoon. Same booth. I laid it all out. From beginning to end. The crash. The death. Derek's prison sentence. The fact that Kate had been in the car. That she hadn't turned him in. That he'd covered for her, took the fall, and now he was using that to control her. John didn't interrupt. Just sat there, nodding slowly. When I finished, he let out a breath and said, "Well, that's a mess. Can you check him out?" I asked. "His status, parole, anything we can use?" He looked me in the eye. "If he's what you say he is, we'll have something." 2 days later, John called. "I've got what we need," he said. "Meet me." Back in the booth, he slid a file across the table. Derek Holloway. Convicted of vehicular manslaughter and fleeing the scene. 8-year sentence. Served just under 6. 6? I asked. "Yeah." Got out early. Good behavior, overcrowding, typical stuff. Paroled a little under a year ago. Out of Pennsylvania. I flipped through the papers. "Conditions of release?" I asked. "Pretty standard," John said. "Had to remain in state. Report regularly to a parole officer. Maintain employment. No travel without clearance." I looked at him. "And now?" John leaned back. "He hasn't checked in for over a month. Has no registered job. And New York is definitely not in his allowed zone." I sat with that for a second. He's not even supposed to be here. Nope. And he knows it. I looked up. "So what now?" "You've got 2 paths," John said calmly. "We can contact his parole officer and get him picked up. He'll go straight back in. Violated everything. Open and shut." I hesitated. "And the risk?" John sighed. He could talk. Drag Kate in. Say she was with him back then. Try to burn her. She was with him. Yes. But she didn't drive. She didn't flee. She didn't cover the car. At worst, she was young, scared, and silent. It's not a great look, but it won't get her serious time. Especially after all these years. "Still," I said, "I don't want it public. Then we go another route." I raised an eyebrow. "You and I go have a friendly chat with Derek." I didn't like the idea. But the alternative, him staying here, blackmailing her, circling us like a vulture, was worse. John continued. "We go in hard. Let him know we know everything. Let him see the badge. Feel the heat." I stared out the window. "He'll run? If he has a brain, yeah. And if he doesn't?" John gave a slow, dangerous smile. "Then I call some friends. And he runs out of road either way." I nodded. "Let's do it." Kate sent the message just after lunch. "See you tonight?" Derek answered within 3 minutes. 1:12. Don't be late. She showed me the screen, lips tight. No words. At 6:45 p.m., John and I pulled into the same rundown motel. The sun was dropping. Parking lot half full. Air thick and stale. We didn't rush. John knocked once. Firm, no hesitation. Derek opened the door, expecting Kate. His face shifted when he saw me. Then changed again when he saw John. "The hell is this?" he said. John stepped in without a word. I followed. Derek backed up instinctively, then closed the door behind us. The room stank like beer and microwave noodles. TV buzzing on mute. Curtains drawn. John didn't sit. He stood, still and solid. "You need to leave New York. Tonight." Derek laughed, short and forced. "You don't get to tell me what to do. You're on parole from Pennsylvania," John said flatly. "You left the state. No permission. No check-ins. No job. No documentation. I've seen your file. Derek's jaw flexed. She told you that? No, I said. I figured it out when she started crying after seeing you. He turned to me, eyes narrow. She's just scared. She knows what'll happen if I open my mouth. John stepped closer. You planning to run to the cops? Derek smirked. If I go down, she goes too. She was in that car. She ran. She helped hide it. John didn't blink. She was 21. No record. She didn't drive. She didn't hide the vehicle. She panicked. You were the one speeding. You were the one who ran. You were the one who dumped the car. He pulled something from his coat and set it silently on the table, a worn police badge. Derek froze. John leaned in. She's already prepared to testify. If she has to. We've spoken with a legal contact. You know what happens? She might get probation. A suspended misdemeanor at worst. John's voice dropped. You violated parole. You're out of jurisdiction. You failed to report. You're unemployed. You're threatening a witness. You'll do the rest of your time. Plus more. Derek looked between us. He wanted to argue. But the weight of the badge on the table killed the words in his throat. What do you want? He said. John didn't even flinch. You go back to Pennsylvania. You report. You shut your mouth. You disappear from her life forever. Derek tried to keep his face tough, but his shoulders were already sinking. And if I don't? John's tone stayed flat. Then I call your parole officer. And when they come for you, it won't be with a knock. Derek sat on the bed, staring at the wall. John took a step back, grabbed the badge from the table, slipped it into his jacket like it never existed. We turned to leave. At the door, I paused, looked back. He didn't look angry. He looked like a guy who just realized he's nobody again. Outside, we walked across the lot in silence. John lit a cigarette, flicked the lighter once. I looked over at him. Where'd you get that badge? He smiled around the smoke. Old habit. Didn't say anything else. Didn't have to. When I got home that night, Kate was already waiting. She was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her hands, like they might hold the answer to everything. She looked up the second I stepped inside. Her eyes were wide, full of nerves and hope, like she wasn't sure which version of me would walk through the door. I closed it behind me. Took a breath. Spoke plainly. He's gone. Her body eased, like something heavy dropped off her shoulders. Gone where? She asked quietly. Back to Pennsylvania, I said. We talked. He understood it was over. She nodded slowly. Thank you. I didn't answer. Just poured myself a glass of water. Took a sip. Then sat across from her. She hesitated, and then asked the question I knew was coming. What happens now? I looked at her. Really looked. This woman I once loved with my whole life. Now someone I didn't quite recognize. I answered calmly. We're going to get divorced. Her face didn't change much. Just softened, like she'd suspected it, but hoped I wouldn't say it out loud. I was afraid you'd say that, she said, voice low. I'm not saying it out of anger. I told her. Not to punish you. Just because it's the truth. She looked down. You know the hardest part? I said, leaning back. It's not even that you cheated. She looked up at that. It's that you didn't trust me. Not with the truth. Not with your past. Not with your fear. I didn't want to drag you into it. But you did, I said. Just without giving me the chance to stand beside you. She wiped at her cheek. Didn't say anything. I loved you, I continued. And I believed you trusted me. That if something terrible happened, you'd come to me first. I paused, then added. But instead, when your past came knocking, you didn't look at me like a man. You looked at me like someone you had to hide it from. Tears were falling now. Quietly. But I stayed calm. You didn't think I was strong enough to protect you. Or us. That says everything. She whispered. That's not true. I shook my head gently. You didn't think I could handle your truth. So you gave it to someone else. That's something I can't forget. Silence. Then I stood up, set my glass in the sink. I'm not kicking you out, I said. You can take your time. Do it right. I just won't be here when you do. She looked up, panicked. Where will you go? I don't know, but I'll be all right. I walked to the stairs, then paused. I'm not angry, Kate. She waited. I'm just done. And then I left her sitting there, alone. Not because I wanted to hurt her, but because, finally, I didn't want to hurt myself anymore. I moved out later that same week. No arguments. No big scene. No slammed doors. Just zipped up one suitcase, checked my wallet, and left. She watched me from the hallway, standing perfectly still. I felt her eyes on my back, but I didn't turn around. I didn't need a dramatic exit. The silence said more than shouting ever could. The new apartment was smaller, quieter, unfamiliar in all the right ways. No memories in the furniture. No shared toothbrush in the bathroom. Just blank walls and peace. I didn't sleep much at first. Ate when I remembered. Worked a lot. Sometimes at night I'd lie there and think, when exactly did I lose my wife? Not in the motel room. Not when she cried. Before that. Somewhere in the quiet shift between trust and lies. But I didn't reach out. And she didn't either. 2 weeks passed. Then came the call. John. Got something for you, he said. I didn't respond. He went on. Your guy Derek, he's done. That got my attention. What happened? He got himself a job at a garage over in Jersey. Looked clean on paper. But turns out it was a front, real amateur setup. They were running stolen vehicles through the place, stripping them for parts. And Derek? Right in the middle of it, John said. He tried to run when the cops showed up. Slipped on a wet curb and cracked his chin open. There was a pause. He's being held. Multiple charges. Parole violation, auto theft, conspiracy, operating within an illegal ring. Not just state, federal. He's not going anywhere this time. I sat with that for a moment. Didn't feel happy. Didn't feel angry. Just done. The threat was gone. The shadow was off my back. And maybe, just maybe, Kate could breathe again too. I didn't call her. Didn't tell her. Not yet. But for the first time in weeks, I stood by the window of that small, unfamiliar apartment, looked out at a street I didn't know, and didn't feel like I was running anymore. Not from her. Not from him. Not from myself. I wasn't planning on calling her. But when John told me about Derek getting arrested again, the garage, the stolen cars, the fall on the curb, I figured she deserved to hear it from me. I sat with the idea for a few days. Then I picked up the phone and dialed. She answered on the second ring. Michael? Yeah. It's me. Silence for a beat. I could hear her breathing. I just thought you should know, I said. Derek's back in prison. What? Got picked up in Jersey. Chop shop. Stolen cars. Real mess. He's not getting out. Another long pause. Then I heard her exhale. Not relief, exactly, but something close. Like a weight she didn't even realize was still pressing on her chest had just shifted. Thank you, she said quietly. I nodded, though she couldn't see it. More silence. Then she asked, Can we meet? It didn't come out rushed or desperate. It wasn't dramatic. She just said it like someone who needed something simple. A moment. A conversation. A chance to, I don't know, be human again. When? I asked. Tomorrow? She said. Afternoon. Somewhere quiet. I didn't answer right away. But then I said it. Okay. Okay, she repeated. I could hear something in her voice. Not hope. Not sadness. Maybe just nerves. She didn't ask how I was doing. I didn't offer. We ended the call with a quiet, see you, and that was it. And now here I am. Sitting in my apartment, the one that still smells like fresh paint and takeout, trying to decide what I'm supposed to feel. She lied to me. Hid a man like Derek in the corners of our life. She broke our trust, not just once, but every day she came home pretending everything was fine. And yet, she also told me the truth. Eventually. And she cried when she did? Not because she got caught, but because she hated herself for not saying it sooner. I don't know what this meeting is going to be. Maybe she wants to explain things I already understand. Maybe she wants closure. Or maybe she wants to ask if there's still something left between us worth saving. I don't have an answer. Not yet. And I'm not walking into that cafe tomorrow with a plan. I'm walking in because, after everything, I still owe it to myself to hear it. To see her. To end this right, or at least, finish it on my feet. So that's where this story ends. Right here, on the edge of something. Not with a door slamming. Not with a ring tossed on a table. Just a man who got hurt, and kept walking anyway. And tomorrow? I'll find out whether that walk leads to a new chapter. Or just the last page.